question.
Please.
Tell me, why Marine Corps?
Why Marine Corps? Honestly, it's funny that you ask because I don't genuinely know. So I've had a Marine Corps flag in my room for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
And like we've talked about, I don't have any previous immediate family that was in the Marines, but I always just thought if I want to go in, I want to go in the Marines.
Okay.
I don't know a genuine answer. Maybe it's just because it was like Army. I was like, oh yeah, Army. That's kind of cool. It's a lot of people going to the Army, so
Okay.
I think it's part of the slogan, you know, the few, the proud. You know, it's like every time I met a Marine, like I remember them. I remember how proud they are, and just so
Very true.
proud to be a part of that.
It's definitely a different culture than going into the Army, no doubt. Do you see it as a step towards something else, or is that going to be a career you don't know yet?
Yeah, so I don't know yet. So I'm gonna go do my first 4 years for sure, and then at that point I'll either want to re-enlist, get out, or go to be an officer.
Okay.
So I'm going to intelligence. So hopefully I can transfer that over to some sort of 3-letter organization in the future. So
Okay.
I'm using it more as getting a job in the future, but that job may be staying in. So.
Okay. Well, and I'm sure as you talk to folks, then recruiters and what have you, I'll just pass on a couple tips for you then. One, take advantage of the opportunities you're going to get your education. So getting like your GI Bill and maybe taking some classes and then using that to pay for some of your college expenses is always just be aware of that. That's a fantastic way to defray some of those costs. Most of the services also have programs where they'll take enlisted folks and then send them to college and bring them back in as an officer and what have you. But even if you don't do that, you're going to get benefits from your 4 years that you can apply towards doing that. So I highly encourage you to think about what that might lead you to further your education and drive towards something you're passionate about, something you want to do as a career. The other thing or suggestion I'll give you, because if you're already out doing this, you've got to have some leadership desires behind you a little bit.
Thank you.
Are you kind of like a class leader? Or
I'm the treasurer for my orchestra.
Okay.
So last year I was the upper class representative, and with that I've been to leadership classes for that that they've sent me to. So yes.
Most young people your age aren't thinking like you are already. So hats off to you for that.
Thank you.
Okay. So here's my tip for you. Start a journal now. Okay.
Okay.
Leadership, to me, is more situational than people realize. There is no one way to develop your leadership skills, okay? You can read about a lot of really neat guys that've got their kind of leadership principles, whether it's Admiral McRaven, who's kind of got his, I think it's 10 things to do if you want to change the world. Okay. And so, you read through his, they're all really cool little sayings. So one is, if you're going to change the world, make your bed every day. And what he means by that is you better have your own house in order, before you do that. I think another one is don't ring the bell. He's a former SEAL, so that just means don't quit. Because when you go to SEAL training and you ring the bell, you're quitting, right? Colin Powell, who was one of the great generals we had. He's got, I think, his 12 principles. Everybody's got kind of their list, their favorites. But what I encourage, especially young folks who are going to get into leadership roles, is start that journal, write those things down, and then over time you'll start realizing which ones mean the most to you. Okay. And they become your own kind of touchstone. I was fortunate when I was a young captain, a guy suggested that to me, and I started doing that. And I had back in the day we called them geodecs. We actually didn't have phones. We had to write things down. Yeah. So I had a journal, and I would always write down whenever a guest speaker came in or I went to a leadership presentation, and I should go find it at home someday. Wrote all these little tidbits down. Yeah. Then as I progressed along, I started then keeping those as, certain ones became my guiding principles. And then when I would take over a unit as a leader, I would share that with my subordinates and say, if you want to know how Mark Fisher's going to treat you, this is what's important to him. So one of my favorite sayings that a guy in the Pentagon once told me when I worked on the Joint Chiefs of Staff was, loyalty is telling your boss no twice and then doing exactly what he says. And his message to that was he didn't want to be surrounded by yes men and women. It's okay to have that second conversation with him if you don't agree with a policy that he's trying to promote. But after the second discussion, if that's the way it's gonna be, then you've gotta go carry out that as if it's your own.
Right.
Which, and his point to that was, if you go out and say, oh, the boss makes us do this, it causes dissension below you. And so that was his point. So it's an easy thing to remember. Loyalty's telling your boss no twice and doing exactly what he says. So there's little things like that that you kind of develop over time that really, mean a lot to you. And if you're going to be a future leader, you're at a great time now to start chronicalizing some of that. Write that down. Obviously, if you're doing podcasts or whatever, write some of that down, and you'll see it will evolve to what's important to you as well. Read some books. I've been working with some of the guys here. We do a mentoring program every year. There's great books to read, whether it's, like Coach K, who's a great, college basketball coach. This Good to Great's a great, business book. Jim Collins, been written long time ago, but it's about taking a organization from good to great. And then fun ones like this one, Leadership Secrets of Attila the Hun. Again, it's kind of like a McCraven thing. You read these and they're kind of funny, but then you start realizing, oh, I get it, how this kind of relates to from either a business perspective or whatever. So, and I think one of the things in here, he says, at night, walk around to where the smoke is coming from the fireplaces, or from the campfires or whatever. And his point to that was, hey, the guys that are up at night talking are the ones thinking about what's going to go on the next.
That's true.
So he's got some fun ways of the way this author portrayed Attila the Hun's tactic.
Yeah.
Another one is like, lop off the head of your enemy, and everybody will get the point. But again, they turn them all into usable moments. But I think that's key. A young guy like you that's looking to go in the Marine Corps. Obviously you're going to polish up some of your leadership skills, and you're going to get a lot of that being in the Marine Corps. Those will all serve you extremely well throughout your life. Whether you stay in the Marine Corps or do something else, you're going to get a step ahead of people. So good on you.
Thank you.